Krishna. Then the devotees, all the demigods, they go to Brahma and they tell that Purusha Sukta prayer. Go to Brahma and say that please help that Kamsa's atrocities have reached its heights. It's impossible to live here. Supreme Lord has to descend. And that time Brahma goes and offers the Purusha Sukta prayers to the Supreme. So offering prayers is a typical characteristics of a devotee. So we as devotees, when we come in front of the Lord, it is important for us to offer prayers. Now we may not be in a level of composing our own prayers in proper meters or whatever, but at least in our own broken words, if we can allowed at least to are able to hear to the mind, or little in whispers, if we are able to express ourselves to the Supreme Lord, how fallen we are, how great He is, and please we need His mercy, and this which I am shortcoming, and please help me. If we are able to voice that out, that is also offering praise, because we are surrendering to the Lord and we are telling the Lord, please, I need your help. Or at least if you are able to recite the prayers of other acharyas, if you are able to tell some lines of the Prahlad prayers or Dhruva prayers or Kunti Maharani's prayers, or the prayers by the demigods or Shukdev Goswami's prayers, any prayers, something, if you are able to offer, that is very great. But at least if you are able to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra when we come in front of the Lord, that is glorious. So it is, at least when we are in front of the Lord, we should not think about anything else. Sometimes we are thinking of so much overwhelmed by our own situation. Our mind is so much distracted, it has gone all over the place, and we are in front of the Lord, still our mind is not in front of the Lord. So at least we should not be in that situation. So basically a devotee means he always offers, glorifies the Supreme Lord. Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam.
Okay.
Artha Shuni Sanatha.
No, 315, no?
Okay, Mataji. साक्षात ईश्वर तुम्ही ब्रजेंद्र नंदन तोमार निस्वासे सर्व वेद प्रवर्तन. Translation by Divine Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sanatana Goswami said, My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Maharaja Nanda. All the Vedic literatures are vibrated through your being. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So he reconfirms in his own words, he's expressing his thought to Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya, that you are none other than Lord Krishna, son of Nanda. Nandana Krishna is you only. Like that he expresses. Vocally he tells to Lord Chaitanya. Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranam. Tumi Vakta Bhagavatera Tumi Jana Artha Toma Vina Ane Janite Nahika Samartha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear Lord, you are the original speaker of the Bhagavatam. You therefore know its real import. But for you, no one can understand the confidential meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll read Mataji. Following this statement by Srila Sanatana Goswami, we have written our introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, page 1 to 41.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Mataji.
So if you see now, if you see the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam is a very, page 1 to page 41 is studying. It's like 40 pages of introduction he has given. Where that time he has spoken about Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada. I'm talking about Srila Prabhupada in his Srimad Bhagavatam introduction. He has narrated Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. In short, he has spoken the entire life history of Lord Chaitanya, and there he has specifically mentions about Sanatana Goswami telling the Lord Chaitanya that you are none other than Nandana Krishna. You are same, and Lord Chaitanya is none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead. His understanding has been put across by Srila Prabhupada in his introduction to the Srimad Bhagavatam, because here Sanatana Goswami tells to Lord Chaitanya that you are Nandana Krishna and you are the original speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you are the one who knows the entire Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. And because if somebody writes a book, or somebody is the composer of a book, somebody is, if it is my thought that has been put across in a book, or my understanding, then I will know the best about it. Then everybody else may know the best, but whoever is the original speaker or author, he will know the best. So here Sanatana Goswami is saying Srimad Bhagavatam is just everything about you. So you are the original speaker of the Bhagavatam. And this line Prabhupada has specifically mentioned in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. That way Prabhupada has connected Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the Srimad Bhagavatam, so that the readers of Krishna have already have an understanding of idea about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnamurti Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। प्रभु कहे केने करे आमर स्थावन, भागवतेर स्वरूप केने न कर विचारण। Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Why are you glorifying me personally? You should understand the transcendental position of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why don't you consider this important point?" Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams
So
Mataji.
Mahaprabhu is he has come as a devotee of the Lord. See, his incarnation is specifically as a devotee of the Lord, and he has taken the role of a devotee. So he wants to just glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam or the Supreme Lord. He does not want to call himself as a Supreme Lord because he has come as a devotee of the Lord. That is his position there at that time. So he is telling Sanatana Goswami, don't glorify me, just glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply don't pull my name in between. It is Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna himself, as who has come, literary incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't get my name in between like that. Sudha Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी प्रणाम। कृष्णा तुल्य भागवत विभु सर्वाश्रय, प्रति श्लोके प्रति अक्षरे नाना अर्थ कया। ट्रांसलेशन बाय डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord and center of everything. In each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam and in each and every syllable, there are various meanings. Thank you,
So here
Mataji.
Mahaprabhu is telling that, see, it is not me who is great. See, he has told Atmarama was in 60 different ways. So then Sanatana Goswami is alarmed about it and very happy about it. And he tells Lord Chaitanya that you are none other than Nandana Krishna. Now Mahaprabhu is telling, see, it is not me who is great. It is Srimad Bhagavatam which is great, which has so many verses, and it is Sri Krishna who is the main personality of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavatam itself is so great. All its verses, all its words have so many meanings. So the Bhagavatam is great. It is not that it is just that one verse I just picked up and I shared with you. But it is the whole thing, the entire asset is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
प्रश्नोत्तरे भगवते करियाचे निर्धारा, जन्हारा श्रवणे लोके लागे चमत्कारा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The form of Srimad Bhagavatam is given in questions and answers. Thus the conclusion is established. By hearing these questions and answers, one is highly astonished.
So here Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning that the Srimad Bhagavatam is in the form of question answers, because we know that the first canto, the chapter is 6 questions of by the sages. We know that how the Bhagavatam starts with the sages who had gathered at Naimisharanya, and they put across the questions to Suta Goswami. And thereby Suta Goswami tells that what he had heard from Shukadev Goswami when Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadev Goswami were having the discussion, where Suta Goswami was present. And now Suta Goswami is addressing the sages of Naimisharanya. So that time those sages will ask questions, and that way the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam starts. And so, and then we have it go ahead, and then we know how Vyasa and Narada had their questions and answers. Then going ahead, we have Vidura and Maitreya question answers. Then we have Yudhishthira and Narada question answers. So the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava and Krishna. So we know the entire Bhagavatam is somebody is asking something, somebody is replying something, and that is how the Srimad Bhagavatam is developed. So that about that Chaitanya Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is telling. Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
ब्रूहि योगेश्वरे कृष्णे ब्रह्मण्ये धर्मवर्मणि स्वं स्वां कष्टम् अधुनोपेते
अधुनोपेते
धर्मः कं शरणं गतः. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Know that Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode. Please tell us by whom religious principles are presently protected. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.23 was a question raised by all the sages, who were headed by Saunaka. This question put before the great devotee Suta Goswami is the foremost of the 6 questions raised. The answer to this important question is given in the next verse, also from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.43. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. So the 6 questions which now what has happened is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna has already departed, and so Krishna has already departed. So and then we know the Parikshit Maharaj story and all is happening. That time the sages of Naimisharya start the big sacrifice so that it goes for thousands of years like that. And during that time, they ask, headed by the Shaunaka Rishi, they ask questions to Suta Goswami. So they have asked 6 important questions. What is the ultimate goal of life? And where they, so like that, there are many 6 questions. One of the important questions what was asked is, now that Lord Krishna has disappeared, then now where do the how are the religious principles protected? Who should take shelter of whom now? So Krishna has already departed to his abode. So that was one of the important questions which the sages of Naimisharanya asked Suta Goswami, that whom to take shelter of now? And the answer for that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.43, which Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami tells here. Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam. कृष्णे स्वधामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह कलौ नष्टदृशामेष पुराणादोऽधुनोदितः. Translation by Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After Lord Krishna departed for his abode along with religious principles and transcendental knowledge, this Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, has arisen like the sun in this age of Kali to enlighten those who have no spiritual vision. Thank you, Mataji.
So at that time here in the discussion, understanding comes that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Now that Krishna has departed to his abode, it is a Srimad Bhagavatam that has come, and everything that is contained in the Srimad Bhagavatam is essentially what Krishna is. Is Krishna, about Krishna, of Krishna, about the devotees of Krishna, about their practices. So everything in Srimad Bhagavatam essentially is about Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. That is the answer that was given to the sages when they asked that question. Arun Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. एमत कहिलु एक श्लोकेर व्याख्यान बातुलेर प्रलाप कौरी के करे प्रमाण. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this way, like a madman, I have explained the meaning of just one verse. I do not know who will take this as evidence. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So now Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami that in that one of that ocean of verses, ocean of glorification of Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna only. It is about Krishna in Krishna book like that. So in that one of the verses is the Atma Rama verse. In that I have just tried to explain the meanings, and he has come up with 60 different meanings. Come up with the meaning of one of the Atmavarama verse, but that Srimad Bhagavatam book is an ocean of nectar, and each and every verse can be split and made so many meanings out of that. That kind of it is an ocean. It is an abode of gold. It is so. It is full. It is full. Has only gems in that. Then one of them I have picked up. So you don't glorify me. I am not Nandanandan Krishna. It is just that one of the verses of that ocean of verses I have picked up. So you have to glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam and not me. That is what Mahaprabhu tells to Sanatana. Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
आमाहेन ये बाकेहा वतुलहाय यही दृष्टे भगवतेरा अर्थ जनाय. Translation, purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If one becomes a madman like me, he may also understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam by this process. Mataji, shall I read purport?
Yes, yes.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu plainly explains Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be understood by those who are materially attracted. In other words, one has to become madman like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Apart from being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an Acharya who exhibited love of God like madman. According to his own written words, Yugayitam Nimishena, he says that for him, a moment seems to last 12 years. Chakshusha Pravyashayitam. My tears are flowing like a torrent of rain. Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam. I feel as if entire universe were vacant. By Govinda Virahename, due to my being separated from Govinda Krishna. One can understand Srimad Bhagavatam only by following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was mad for Krishna. We cannot, of course, imitate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not possible. However, unless one is very serious about understanding of Krishna, he cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the full narration of Krishna's transcendental activities. The first 9 cantos explains who Krishna is, and the Lord's birth and activities are narrated in the 10th canto. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Janma karma cha me divyam. Krishna appearance and disappearance are transcendental, not mundane. A person is eligible to return home back to Godhead if he perfectly understands Krishna and his appearance and disappearance. This is verified by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Sattva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. It is therefore concluded that one has to learn about Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and one has to follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who do not follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot understand Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Mataji,
So
Dhanyavad.
Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada has spoken it all actually. So it is told that the first book, devotee, one who is little new, maybe a little new in Krishna consciousness, first has to go through the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, and then it is told that Srimad Bhagavatam is like the journal, Bhagavad Gita is like the tattva, like the quote, the do's and don'ts and principles of devotional service. What is karma, jnana, bhakti, like that. And when it's come to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is more like a journal which tells about Krishna, his pastimes, his devotees' pastimes, the do's, the don'ts, what are the benefits. And then when it comes to the post-graduation study of Srimad Bhagavatam is by a devotee of Krishna who has encapsulated the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam and lives through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam and lives through the character of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the best devotee is none other than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is the Supreme Lord, who has come in the guise of a devotee. So through the example of a devotee who lives through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, for us to perfect our lives, we need to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and take the mood of Lord Chaitanya of understanding Krishna, being in the mood of the servant of Krishna, servant and servant of the devotees. That Trinadapi Sunichan, mood of the servant being humble like a blade of grass. In that mood, when we try to understand, serve, engage in devotional service of the Supreme Lord and his devotees and the Vaishnavas, that time the real purports of the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam also nourish our hearts. And then sometime, we may come to the level of Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravashaya. When will that day we feel actually the separation from Krishna? Now we are so much separated from Krishna and we are very blissful about in that situation. But when we actually feel the separation of Krishna, that is so the best example, the best book is Srimad Bhagavatam, the best example is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And for us, the ideal should be Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and somewhere we should be at least looking towards that way. Someday in aspirations, at least to go understand that somewhere in that direction, we should always try. So that is the lakshana of a devotee. That is what essentially Prabhupada tells you. Sumati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
पुनः पुनः सनातन कहे युदी दुई करे प्रभु आज्ञा दिला वैष्णवा स्मृति करी भरे. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Holding his hands, Sanatana Goswami said, "My Lord, you ordered me to write a directory about the activities of Vaishnavas." Hare Krishna.
So here now Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami are sitting at Varanasi in what was that? Yes. Okay, they are sitting and they are talking about daily Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami discussing. Essentially, Mahaprabhu has instructed Sanatana Goswami to write books, and he has told write about the activities of Vaishnavas. So it is Hari Bhakti Vilasa is a literature of Sanatana Goswami. I think this Hari Bhakti Vilas and one is Harinamachi. That is different. Hari Bhakti Vilas is one which here by Sanatana Goswami is referring. If I am not wrong, I am not sure about it. Where it gives all in detail about the Vaishnava Achara, Vaishnava culture, and how it should be. All those details are given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas of Sanatana Goswami. And here Sanatana Goswami is telling Lord Chaitanya that you have ordered me to write. What should be the content of that book? Exactly, that is what he will ask in the future verses. Padma Mataji.
Pranams Mataji. Punini cha jati kichu na jano na chara moha haise kaichu haya Srimati Parachara. That's translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I am a most low-born person. I have no knowledge of good behavior. How is it possible for me to write authorized directions about Vaishnava activities? Purport. That is the purport also, Mataji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Actually, Sanatana Goswami belonged to a very respectable Brahmana family. Nonetheless, he submitted himself as a fallen, low-born person because he had served in the Muslim government. A Brahmana is never supposed to engage in anyone's service. Serving others for a livelihood
Paricharyatmakam karma
is a business of Shudra. The Brahmana is always independent and busy studying Shastras and preaching Shastras to subordinate social members such as Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. Sanatana Goswami felt unfit to write Vaishnava Smriti about the behavior of Vaishnavas because he had fallen from the Brahmanical position. Thus, Sanatana Goswami clearly admits that the Brahmanical culture should be standardized. Present in India, so-called Brahmanas are almost all engaged in some mundane service, and they do not understand the import of the Vedic Shastras. Nonetheless, they are passing themselves off as Brahmanas on the basis of birth. In this connection, Sanatana Goswami declares that a Brahmana cannot be engaged in anyone's service if he wants to take a leading part in society. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni states that even if a Brahmana is in difficult position, he should not accept the occupation of a Shudra. This means that he should not be engaged in service for another, for this is the business of dogs. Under the circumstances, Sanatana Goswami felt very low because he had accepted the position of service in the Muslim government. The conclusion is that no one should claim to be a Brahmana simply by birthright while engaging in someone else's service. Thank
so
you,
here
Mataji.
very
Pranams.
clearly about the Varnashrama Dharma Srila Prabhupada is explaining, and we know in the Varnashrama system we have Brahmana, Vaishya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And we know that based on your psychophysical nature, based on your occupation, this Varna and Ashrama has been created. It is not based on birth. But what has happened is Previously in olden times, many hundreds of years back, this varnashrama system was existing, very much prominent, and even at least my grandfather's time also. That time they were, because they were born in the Brahmana family, they never used to go out and work. It was mostly engaged in deity worship in temple, deity worship at home or like that, and astrology, something like that. And it is not, Brahmana's occupation is not to engage in other service like his job or anything. But what happened is, that time in my grandparents parents, my father, they were all educated simply to work as a bank employee or as an engineer or whatever. The thought understanding thought process was, you have to study and you have to work and earn money. That was the understanding, because they themselves were not, because the Varnashrama was very strong and prominent then. But then over generations, last 2 generations already, what has happened is, all Brahmanas, most of them are engaged in different work. Some may have their own occupation, but most of them are engaged in some offices or some wherever. So here the Srila Prabhupada is telling is, it is, if you're calling yourself a Brahmana, Brahmana means they don't engage in other services. So simply by birth, don't call yourself as a Brahmana. So now in our Gaudiya Vaishnava, this one, we have the Brahmana Diksha we call, where what happens is, a devotee, he may be following under different, any of the Varna or Ashrama, he may be working wherever, but when he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, engaged in deity worship, engaged in teaching Shastras, engaged in like Bhakti Shastri or any other things, so he is engaged in Shastric knowledge and specifically engaged in deity worship, and he is doing his chanting and following the regulatory principles. That time, the spiritual master, based on his qualification, gives him the Brahman Diksha, and that time he becomes a Brahmana. So typically, it is not like he is not working out anymore like that, but it is the focus or the highlight of that person is to serve the Supreme Lord through engaging in devotional service and through engaging direct deity worship and direct teaching of the Shastras. So this is the understanding that we have got now. But here, by what Sanatan Goswami is telling, that even though he was born in the Brahmana family, because of the situation, because of the strong Muslim rule then, he was engaged as the finance prime minister or finance minister, one of that, uh, in the Muslim rule. And because he was engaged in the Muslim service, he condemned himself due to his humility. It was, there is nothing otherwise about it. And because they were so humble, they thought that we are completely unfit to call ourselves as Brahmanas, and we condemn our life for serving the Muslims. And now, so he is admitting in front of Lord Chaitanya that I am not a Brahmana, I am not a qualified personality, but you are giving a very big responsibility of writing literatures about the conduct of a Vaishnava. So it is completely mismatched. How will I be able to achieve this huge task? It is not possible. I am not qualified for it. I don't understand it. I am a fool. And how will I be able to achieve whatever you have thought? How will I be able to do? I am not able to understand head and tail. I am not able to understand where will I start, what will I do, how will I do. But actually, Sanatana Goswami was very, very learned and he was very much qualified. But from the core of his heart, he feels that he is not qualified. That is the lakshana of a great devotee. We are not qualified and we feel that I am very much qualified and people are not recognizing my qualification. That is our unfortunate situation. But otherwise, devotees like Sanatana Goswami, even though they are completely qualified, even though they are actually the Parshads of the Supreme Lord themselves, they feel completely unqualified, and because they are feeling it like that, they draw the blessings, they draw the mercy of the Supreme Lord. That is one of the things which we should understand. The more we actually feel from the core of our heart that I am not qualified, then we draw the mercy. For us, we may be telling I am not qualified, but internally I am kind of convinced that I am qualified, and that becomes a mismatch for ourselves, and we don't go anywhere, we don't grow anywhere. Okay, Uma Devi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम। सूत्र करी दिशा यदि कराह उपदेशा, आपने कराह यदि हृदय प्रवेशा। Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sanatan Goswami then requested the Lord, please personally tell me how I can write this difficult book about Vaishnava behavior. Please manifest yourself in my heart. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The writing of Vaishnava literatures is not a function for ordinary men. Vaishnava literatures are not mental concoctions. They are all authorized literatures meant to guide those who are going to be Vaishnavas. Under these circumstances, an ordinary man cannot give his own opinion. His opinion must always correspond with the conclusion of the Vedas. Unless one is fully qualified in Vaishnava behavior and authorized by superior authority, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot write Vaishnava literatures or purports and commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So here he says that he really prays hard to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and tells that, Lord, you have to help me, you have to manifest in the core of man, then only it is possible. And hereby Prabhupada says that it is not simply by one's intelligence he is able to write anything, it is only by the mercy. And it is not his own mercy, it is by the opinion corresponding to the conclusion of the Vedas. So when Srila Prabhupada was translating, when he was writing the Srimad Bhagavatam purports, they are not his mental concoctions. He was referring from so many books, from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentaries, from Sridhar Swami's commentaries, and he was also referring from Sanatana Goswami's books. And then he was understanding, taking the essence of every verse that what the acharyas are telling, and then in the English language he wrote. But still, the way he has written and what the kind of examples he has given, and it is so simple and very easy to understand. So then somebody had asked him so much, he was delighting in reading his own purports, because he said, it is not me who has written, it is Krishna who has written. And here also we can understand when Sanatana Goswami is telling that you have to manifest in the core of my heart for me to write. That is the way Srila Prabhupada has also written. So for him, his own books were giving nourishment to the core of his heart. It was not about pride, it was more about he was amazed by the explanation which through mercy of Krishna he was able to produce. So that is the actually characteristic of a real Vaishnava. Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam Mataji.
Pranam.
Tabe tare disha spore mo nichera hridaya Ishvara tumi e karadha seyi siddhahaya. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. If you would please manifest yourself within my heart and personally direct me in writing this book, then although I am low Bharan, I may hope to be able to write it. You can do this because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead yourself, and whatever you direct is perfect. Hare Krishna
So
Mataji.
again, Sanatana Goswami said, you are on the Lord, please manifest in the core of my heart. If you don't, I will not be able to. Please, like that. He asked the Lord. Arun Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। प्रभु कहे ये करिते करीबा तुम्हें माना कृष्ण से ही तो माँ करा बेस पुराना। Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, whatever you want to do, you will be able to do correctly by Lord Krishna's favor. He will manifest the real purport. Sanatana Goswami was a pure devotee of Krishna. A pure devotee has no business other than serving Krishna. Consequently, Krishna is always ready to help him. This benediction was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami, who was authorized to write Vaishnava Smriti. Sanatana Goswami was a pure devotee of the Lord, and through the blessings of the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was able to write the book perfectly. Hare Krishna.
So the different literatures. So here Srila Prabhupada is telling that a devotee, see now Mahaprabhu does not want to take the credit, and he says that it is Lord Krishna who will manifest in the core of your heart, and then you write, it will be possible for you to write. Prabhupada is telling that is how Vaishnava should completely be dependent on the Supreme Lord before embarking on any devotional activity. It is not through one's intelligence or through qualification he is able to perform anything. It is only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. That the devotee should be very conscious of all the time. Sudha Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। प्रणाम। तथापि येई सूत्रेरा शुनदिग्दर्शना सकारना नित्याधव गुरु आश्रयना. Translation by Divine Will Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Because you asked me for a synopsis, please hear these few indications. In the beginning, describe how one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Thank
So
you,
now what is
Mataji.
happening is Sanatana Goswami told Lord Chaitanya that I don't know where to start, how to write, how to begin. You have given me to write about the Vaishnava characteristics. I don't know actually. So then few highlights Mahaprabhu says that see these things, A, B, C, D, these things, the book should have all these, the content should have all these items. It should give explanation to all these topics. So he gives a synopsis and then Sanatana Goswami develops his book based on those highlights. And he says that first it starts with how one person has to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. So your book should cover all these aspects in this particular order, like that Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami. Who is this? Mumbai. I'm not able to read the full name. Yes, who is this?
Mataji, मैं.
Yes, Vrishabhanu
Yes.
Kanya Devi Mataji. Yes.
Yes. गुरु लक्षणा शिष्य लक्षणा गुरु लक्ष yes
Guru
Mataji.
Lakshana, Shishya Lakshana, Donhara
No, but
Parikshana.
it is for change Mataji. हाँ
Sevya
yes
Bhagavan Sarva
हाँ
Mantra Vicharana.
गुरु लक्षणा शिष्य लक्षणा दोनहारा प्रति परीक्षणा सेवया भगवान सर्व मंत्र विचाराना.
Yeah.
Yes. Translation is too much, Mataji. The screen is.
Somebody else should read.
Yes.
I'll read Mataji.
Yeah, Swati Mataji read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Your book should be describe the characteristics of bona fide guru and bona fide disciple. Then, before accepting a spiritual master, one can be assured of the spiritual master's position. Similarly, the spiritual master can also be assured of the disciple's position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, should be described as worshipable object, and you should describe the Bija mantra for the worship of Krishna, as well as that for Brahma and for other expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mataji, shall I read purport?
Yes.
In Padma Purana, the characteristics of Guru, the bona fide spiritual master, have been described. Mahabhagavata Shreshto Brahmano Vai Gurunam Sarvesham Eva Lokhanam Asau Tujyo Yatha Hari Mahakula प्रसूतोऽपि सर्वयज्ञेषु दीक्षितः सहस्रशाखध्यायै च न गुरुस्याद् अविनाशन वा. Vaishnavah. The Guru must be situated on the topmost platform of devotional service. There are three classes of devotees, and the Guru must be accepted from the topmost class. The first class devotee is a spiritual master for all kinds of people. It is said Guru Nrunanam. The word Nrunanam means of all human beings. The Guru is not limited to a particular group. It is stated in Upadesha Amrita of Rupa Goswami that a Guru is a Goswami, a controller of the senses and the mind. Such a Guru can accept disciples from all over the world. Prithvim Sa Sishyat. This is the test of the Guru. In India, there are many so-called Gurus and they are limited to certain districts or a province. They do not even travel about India, yet they declare themselves to be Jagat Guru, the Guru of whole world. Such cheating gurus should not be accepted. Anyone can see how the bona fide spiritual master accepts disciples from all over the world. The Guru is qualified Brahmana. Therefore, he knows Brahman and Parabrahman. He thus devotes his life for the service of Parabrahman. The bona fide spiritual master who accepts disciples from all over the world is also worshipped all over the world because of his qualities. Lokanam asau pujyo yata hari. The people of the world worship him just as they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these honors are offered to him because he strictly follows the Brahmanical principles and teaches these principles to his disciples. Such a person is called an Acharya because he knows the principles of devotional service. He behaves in that way himself and he teaches his disciples to follow in his footsteps. Thus, he is an Acharya or Jagat Guru. Even though a person is born in a Brahmanical family and is very expert in performing sacrifices, he cannot be accepted as Guru if he is not strict Vaishnava. A Guru is a Brahmana by qualification and he can turn and he can turn others into Brahmanas. According to the Shastric principles and Brahminical qualification, Brahmanism is not a question of hereditary. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.11.35, Sri Radhaburi tells Maharaja Yudhishthira what a Brahmana is. He states that if Brahminical qualifications are observed in Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, or even Shudras, one should accept them as Brahmanas. In this regard, Srila Sridhara Swami has commented, Samadhibir eva brahmanadi vyavaharo mukhyana jati matraditi aha yasyeti yadyadi anyatra varnantarepi drishyata tad varnantaram tenaiva lakshana nimittenaiva varnena vinirdishet na tu jati nimitte artha. The most important criterion for deciding whether the deed to deal with someone as a Brahmana or a member of another Varna is the presence of absence of self-control and similar Brahminical qualities. We should not judge primarily according to the superficial characteristics like birth. This is stated in the verse beginning Yasya. Bhagavatam 7.11.35. If the qualities of one Varna are seen in someone born in another, he should be designated according to the Varna of his qualities, not that of his birth. There is a similar statement made by Nilakanta, a commentator on Mahabharata. Shudropi samadhi upetyo brahmaneva brahmanopi kamedi upeta sudra eva. Although one may be born in Sudra family, if he endowed with Brahminical qualities, beginning with Shama, control of the mind, he is to be accepted as Brahmana. Although one may born in a Brahmana family, if he is endowed with the qualities beginning with Kama, lust, he is to be considered a Shudra. No one should present himself as a Brahmana simply on the basis of being born in a Brahminical family. One must be qualified by Brahminical qualities mentioned in the Shastras, particularly Bhagavad Gita 18.42. Samo शमोधमस्तपः शान्तिरार्जवमेव च ज्ञानं विज्ञानम् आस्तिक्यं ब्रह्मकर्म स्वभावजम्. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which Brahmanas work. Unless one is qualified with all these attributes, he cannot be accepted as Brahmana. It is not a question of simply taking birth in Brahmana family. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that Narottama Das Thakur and Shyamananda Goswami, although not born in Brahmana families, are accepted as bona fide spiritual masters because they were Brahmanas by qualification. Personalities like Sri Ganga Narayana, Ramakrishna, and many others who were actually born in Brahmana families said Narottama Dasa Thakura and Shyamananda Goswami as their spiritual master. The Mahabhagavata is one who decorates his body with tilaka and whose name indicates him to be servant of Krishna by the word Dasa. He is also initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and is expert in worshipping the deity. chanting mantras correctly, performing sacrifices, offering prayers to the Lord, and performing Sankirtana. He knows how to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how to respect a Vaishnava. When one has attained the topmost position of Mahabhagavata, he is to be accepted as a guru and worshipped exactly like Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only such person is eligible to occupy the post of guru. However, if one is highly qualified but is not a Vaishnava, he cannot accepted as a guru. One cannot be a Brahmana unless one is Vaishnava. If one is Vaishnava, he is already a Brahmana. If a guru is completely qualified as a Vaishnava, he must be accepted as a Brahmana even if he is not born in a Brahmana family. The caste system method of distinguishing a Brahmana by birth is not acceptable when applied to a bona fide spiritual master. A spiritual master is a qualified Brahmana and Acharya. If one is not qualified Brahmana, he is not expert in studying the Vedic literatures. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau. Every Vaishnava is a spiritual master, and a spiritual master is automatically expert in Brahminical behavior. He also understands the Vedic Shastras. Similarly, a disciple qualification must be observed by the spiritual master before he accepted as a disciple. In our Krishna conscious movement, the requirement is that one should be prepared to give up four pillars of sinful life: illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. In Western countries, especially, we first observe whether a potential disciple is prepared to follow the regulative principles. Then he is given the name of a Vaishnava servant and initiated to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra at least 16 rounds daily. In this way, the disciple renders devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master or his representative for at least 6 months to a year. He then he is then recommended for a second initiation, during which a sacred thread is offered and the disciple is accepted as a bona fide Brahmana. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur introduced the system of giving sacred thread to a bona fide Vaishnava, and we are following in his footsteps. The qualification of bona fide disciple are described in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.10.6 as follows. Amanya
You can skip
Mattaro.
you can skip and read the translation.
Okay, Mataji. The disciple must have the following qualification. He must give up interest in the material body conception. He must give up the material lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. He should be interested only in the understanding of science of God, and he should be ready to consider all points in this matter. He should not he should no longer think I am this body or this belongs to me. One must love the spiritual master with unflinching faith, and one must be very steady. One must fixed. The bona fide disciple should be inquisitive to understand and transcendental subject matter. He must not search out faults among good qualities, and he should no longer be interested in material topics. His only interest should be the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as the mutual testing of the spiritual master and disciple is concerned, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that a bona fide disciple must be very inquisitive to understand the transcendental subject matter as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21. Tasmat Gurum Tapadhyeta Jignasu Shreyamuttamam. One who is inquisitive to understand the highest goal and benefit of life must approach the bona fide spiritual master and surrender unto him. A serious disciple must be alert when selecting a bona fide spiritual master. He must sure that the spiritual master can deliver all transcendental necessities. The spiritual master must observe how inquisitive the disciple is and how eager he is to understand the transcendental subject matter. The spiritual master should study the disciple's inquisitiveness for no less than 6 months or a year. A spiritual master should not be very anxious to accept a disciple because of his material opulences. Sometimes a big businessman or landlord may approach a spiritual master for initiation. Those who are materially interested are called Vishwasis,
Vishayis, Vishayis,
Vishyasis, Vishayis,
Vishayis.
Karmis, Vishayis, Karmis, which indicates that they are fond of sense gratification. Such Vishyasis sometimes approach a famous guru and ask to become a disciple just as a matter of passion. Sometimes,
Okay, so Swati Mataji, it is still a very long purport and we are beyond time. The essentially why I wanted you to read the entire purport is everybody please read it through. That is Prabhupada how in detail explains what a spiritual master is, because there is so much confusion especially in India about the concept of guru, who is a Jagat guru, and he is my guru, is your guru, which guru is. These concepts so clearly, elaborately Prabhupada has explained here, and he has actually lived by the definition of guru. How he became the Jagat guru, he has accepted everybody. It was not that my cult, my language, my state people who I accept and I consider them as I'm the guru, and I call myself as Jagat Guru also. He actually lived by the word Jagat Guru, and how he actually accepted, converted the hearts of all the different Vishayis and all those words which are used in the purport. Prabhupada actually lived through, and he clearly says that when you are accepting a spiritual master, make sure that, see, now Prabhupada is not there. There are so many representatives of Srila Prabhupada, and it is very important for us to understand that whom I want to surrender my life to, because everybody is qualified, but what touches my heart. So that way, with these things, we can actually select our spiritual master. All are bona fide nonetheless, but who touches my heart, I can select my spiritual master and dedicate my life to them. So these are the qualifications of guru. These are the qualifications of the disciples. All these things in now for us Prabhupada has given, but he has picked it from the books of Sanatana Goswami, and that discussion about writing that book is what we are reading through now, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami all these concepts should be very clearly written in your book, and essence of that is picked by Srila Prabhupada, and elaborately he is given in his purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, because we are very dull-headed and very if the concepts are very short line, one line concepts are given, it will never understand. So lucidly, very in common words, he has which we can understand very clearly in those words. That is the way Srila Prabhupada has given his purpose, and in that very clearly express what a disciple is, what is the qualification of disciple, what is a Brahmana, what is Brahmana. For Brahmana, he has given such a big explanation, because in India it is so much of a confusion who is a real Brahmana and what is a guru, how you accept a guru, what is a real spiritual master, how he should be considered as a representative of Hari. He is not different from Hari, but he is not Hari. So that is how clearly that understanding should be there, and what is the qualification of a right disciple. So all these things are there in Sanatana Goswami's book, and by Prabhupada's mercy, we are able to read through Bhaktivedanta purports in any of the books of whichever Srila Prabhupada has written. Grantraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is sorry for making it very late. I wanted to stop, but then I thought it is very long actually. That it is nice purport, but that's okay then. Thank you very much, Grantraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you,
thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Wonderful
Thank you.
explanation, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna
so much.
Mataji.
Prabhupada's purports are
Pranam.
wonderful actually. We don't
Yeah,
need
yes,
extra
Mataji.
lines.
Yes,
for that.
Mataji. Yes.
Very
Thank
Thank
nice.
you,
Thank
Mataji.
you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavad Pranam.
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha
Sarveshya
kripasindhubhyo
Sindhuvaya Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namaha
Namo Namaha.
Ananta
Jai
Koti
Srila
Ki
Prabhupada.
Jai.